Hello everybody, this is Frederick here, and today I'll be presenting my dashboard, which is USA college cost and salary. So as sort of motivation for this, as a high school senior, I had a really hard time choosing which colleges to apply to. Because first of all, in the US, there are a lot of different colleges. And secondly, each college has a lot of different variables that you have to focus on when deciding. So it would be impractical to compare them hand by hand. So the goal of this dashboard is for high school students or prospective college students to be able to use it to help them narrow down their search. And to address the too many variables, this dashboard only focuses on the two factors that I deem the most important, which are location, as you can see by the map, and also finances, which is the cost and salary. That is tuition per year and the expected starting salary for students of each school. So that's about it for the intro. Let's get into the dashboard. On the top left, you can see a map of the US. All the states' borders are outlined in purple, and each of these points represents a university. So with this map, we can zoom in by scrolling, we can pan around to look at all the different colleges, and if we right click, we will reset our view to the original. Okay, let's go down to this graph here. What is this small multiples diagram showing us? So in the middle, we have our most important variables, which are tuition and salary. On the left and right, we actually add two different variables, MWB, which is make world better. That is the percentage of students that think they're making the world better by attending said university, and also just the percentage of STEM majors. I think these variables are somewhat probably not variables that people looking at colleges are considering, so it would be interesting to find patterns in these. And then we compare both against salary and tuition. Okay, so let's go over how a student might use this. Let's say me. Because I live in New York, I would only consider going to colleges nearby myself. So if I zoom in, I can actually click on each state, let's say New York, Pennsylvania, and maybe Massachusetts. Maybe I'm only considering those states. If I click on them, well, we can see that, first of all, they're highlighted in the map. They're also highlighted in each of these scatter plots. And on the top right, we have a new list that's populated. So this list lists the top 5 universities by the salary cost ratio, basically the return on investment. So the University of Massachusetts Lowell has a salary cost ratio of 2.5. So the expected starting salary is 2.5 times greater than the tuition per year. So that's really good for finances if I want to pay my college debt in a reasonable amount of time. Okay, so what can we do with this? Actually, if we see number 3 is Stony Brook University. So if I click on Stony Brook University on the map, it's highlighted where Stony Brook actually is. And for students that are actually looking to potentially apply to Stony Brook University, there are some very useful pieces of information here, starting with the name of the school. We also have a link to the school's website. So if you click on this, it'll bring you to Stony Brook University, which is very good. That's where you can get all the details about the school. We have the actual location and then enrollment and the actual numbers for tuition, starting salary, percentage of students who think they're making the world a better place, and the number of STEM majors. So all very useful and concrete information for those trying to apply, as well as down here, I've included diversity information because some students might feel more comfortable knowing that they're going to schools with people that are similar to them, like racially, ethnically, or gender-wise. So as we can see from Stony Brook, based on this donut chart, there's about a little over 50% white people, and minorities make up the rest of the 100%, I guess. And then, as you can see, Stony Brook is fairly evenly split between men and women, so that's also a plus, maybe. But yeah, we can also click on different schools in the map to bring up their info. For example, let's look at this one. And this is UMass at Amherst. And there we can see the change in racial diversity, but the men to women ratio is pretty similar. Okay, so this is probably where a typical student might end their use of the dashboard after looking through a bunch more schools or selecting different states. But for people who are interested in looking at the data in a different way, this map actually helps do that. So for example, if we click on New York, we can analyze just the universities that are in New York, and through these 4 different variables: tuition, salary, percentage of STEM majors, and percentage of students that want to make the world a better place. So in New York, we can kind of see that the percentage of people who want to make the world a better place is pretty low, which is kind of fitting for the, I guess, culture that's stereotypically New York, basically everyone for themselves. On the other hand, if we look at Texas, we can see that they're more in the middle, right? Between 30 and 90. What is that, 60? Yeah, they're more in like the 60, 50, 60% range. Okay. And if we look at Washington, for example, we can see that their STEM majors, their percentage of STEM majors is pretty low. Compare that to New York, which is pretty spread out. So there's a bunch of liberal arts and STEM-focused schools in New York, whereas in Washington, it tends to be towards the liberal arts, I guess. So these are the kinds of observations you can make using this dashboard. We can also go the other way from brushing the scatter plots to seeing what changes on the dashboard. So for example, if we look at this middle scatter plot, tuition versus salary, if we brush over these colleges with higher tuition, these are going to be the private universities, right? That matches with our knowledge of how tuition works between public and private schools. And we can see that these are mostly concentrated in states that are around the coasts, right? Coastal areas, Michigan, Washington, California, Texas, Florida, right? These are where more of the more expensive schools are. But on the other hand, we look at the other half, we can see that they're pretty much everywhere, and they make up the majority of the schools in this Midwest region. So that's also something interesting that we can observe by doing this. If we look at, say, the higher paying schools, these also tend to be the around the coastal regions. There's one here. Let's see which one that is. That is, Missouri University of Science and Technology. Yeah, so we can find interesting data points like this, or if we zoom in here, I think this is Colorado, not Kansas, sorry. Colorado School of Mines. This is maybe a hidden gem that that students might want to consider. So these are the types of data that we can get from our dashboard, and I hope it's useful to both students and researchers looking to learn more about the USA colleges, specifically with respect to location and finances. Thank you.